the Los Angeles Regional Consortium, also known as LARC, which represents 19 community colleges across the Los Angeles region. I also have the pleasure of co-leading the LARC AI Task Force with Chair and Assistant Vice President of LARC, Dr. Narne McKeegan. Today's AI professional development session, Tools for Educators in AI in life sciences and biotechnology careers, is made possible through our partnership with the Los Angeles County Office of Education, also known as LACO, and the coordination and vision of LARC's AI Task Force. Leading today's session is Eduvator's Technical Director, Raina Walsinger, and Professor and Instructional Technology Trainer, Linda Delzite, who will equip you with the AI-relevant tools to bring real-world relevance into your courses. You'll find today's professional development session and more in the LARC AI Learning Library, and we'll drop that link in the chat for you. So please turn your cameras on if you can and get ready for a fun and informative and interactive session. And with that, I turn it over to Eduvators to get today's professional development started.
Thanks, everybody. Dr. McKeegan, Judy, Kevin, thanks everybody for being here. We're excited today to talk about another amazing subject that's near and dear to my heart and Linda's, life science and biotech careers. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take over the screen sharing if you don't mind. So we're going to just start with some little introductions in the chat. And throughout this workshop, we have a Google Drive, and we'll be reposting it as people join so you can see it. And it's going to have all the resources, and we'll go over that today. These sessions are designed to be interactive, and feel free to hop in, unmute, ask questions, whatever you like. Linda and I both teach every day, so we're happy to respond to any questions and anything that you like to make it most useful for you. So with that, I'll start with just getting to know each other. If you could put your name and your role and your subject area and their AI experience level in the chat, that would be great. While we're doing that, so I teach AI and technology, and so my classes are specifically AI included, I guess you could say, which is different than other types of classes where using AI to make some changes or dealing with how students do stuff. All right, this is going to be sciencey. Hey, Par, hey, Brian, Desiree. Awesome. Okay, move on. So, little quick introductions. I'm Dr. Rena Walsinger. We establish Eduvators to democratize AI for all of us educators. My background is in bioengineering, not biotech, but bioengineering. Although I did work for the VA for a number of years doing biotech and creating early cancer detection systems. I worked for the government. And so I'm a faculty, I've been a dean and a chair and a professional musician, and kind of enjoying this age of AI and creating stuff. So give it to Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Delzite McIntyre, and I've been teaching since 1977. Most of it has been in health, physical education, training lifeguards, swimming teachers, but I've also been department chair, curriculum chair, technology chair, distance ed coordinator, and training faculty to use XR, and now AI. So I've had fun. This is a fun place, a fun time to be in technology for education. So we're happy to be here with you.
Absolutely. In fact, this morning, I spent the morning making a new phone app with a brand new thing that we'll introduce today from Google. It changes every day, but it's just always, and things are getting easier. I'm so excited. Anyways, our objectives today are AI skills that students need. We're going to go over putting yourselves in the student's shoes and seeing what their experience is like, preparing students for AI changes, and help them get ready for careers or whatever they're doing next in their lives. And we, by the way, both of us teach all ages of students. So when we think about students for us, we're talking about the different demographics from just after high school all the way till post-retirement. So faculty and staff AI integration, this is of course our expertise, and we both do this daily with our own work and a lot of hands-on demonstration activities today. There's a resource drive, and it has there's a link there, and it has we're going to go over some of those materials with you today, but there is a giant amount of information for you specifically geared for this field of biotech and health sciences.
So just drop the link into the chat one more time.
Oh, thanks, Linda. So AI is transforming every industry. I think for me, it started in, gosh, I think it was curriculum development when I was working at eLumen, and we started to use AI to change workflows and signing and all kinds of things that go on in curriculum routing. But in healthcare has been kind of the earliest big adopter. So I've trained doctors in using AI and 3D stuff for simulation training and in hospitals, and it's been just an early thing because healthcare is so disconnected, and it's helping it become more connected. So patient care becomes better, and diagnosis happen earlier, which is the whole key to healthcare. There's some other areas that we're working in. In fact, next week we're going to be doing digital media. So although you might be scientists, if you're interested in visual media, audio media, we'll be going over that next week. So AI skills are needed now. And this is the reason why we're attacking this in the education area. So the panels that I sit on with CEOs, those are always talking about AI and trying to find people with skills coming in. And sometimes the roles now are less entry as they used to be. So you have to come in with skills. I think a lot of our students are trying to find internships and apprenticeships to gain some of those skills, help them get early jobs. But they do prefer candidates with AI skills that, or like a portfolio of things that they've done or created uh, since this all started. Most employers expect AI to transform their business. Many already have. In fact, I know a lot of folks getting hired as like AI transformation specialists. That's like a new job. But still, they're looking for people that can critically think, problem solve, work in teams, communicate, all of that, just as always. So why use AI? I mean, for me, it's like constantly, I'm somebody who's very inquisitive, so answering a lot of questions, but it won't just transform your teaching. In fact, teaching, I feel like my teaching hasn't changed. I just have other tools to do it with. Um, but it'll give you some time back. I mean, obviously creating materials, Canvas shells, interactive things, quizzes, rubrics, I mean, all that stuff you can do a lot faster. It can help you communicate clearly. So, like for my announcements, I usually write it and then I have it make it better. Just little editing. You can see some of the things they're creating materials. That's a big time saver. So anytime you're kind of sitting, the way I think of it, sitting in front of your computer, keystroking, there's probably some way to make that faster. And I go back to like ancient times before we sat there and did a lot of that. For me, I remember spending more times with other people and meeting stuff, and then time at in my cubicle designing stuff with pencil and paper. And so there was a time where we didn't spend all day keystroking. I think we're kind of going back to that. So I don't think it is eliminating some jobs, but recreating jobs that are not keyboard centric. So we do have a starter kit in the drive, and you'll see it in there. And this will tell you all kinds of things about AI tools, free tools to start with, simple prompt formulas. Um, and so if you open that drive, and I think I'll do that now just to show you what that all looks like. There's so much stuff in there. So I have a link to the drive here. Here's the presentation, and then all of these different things are in this drive for you. And so like the ready to use prompts, I'll just open that up. So all of these guides are again, this is for life science and biotech specifically. So we have different examples for your field. Beginning, intermediate, and advanced, we'll be using some of these guides today to do some interactive stuff. So there's a lot of them. And we try to cover all of the areas that we found in the 19 colleges that are covered under this area. So we have prompts for everything. So you'll find a lot in that drive.
I don't think that is in the drive. If you click on the link on the slide, it opens.
Okay.
So when they download the slides, it'll open for them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okie dokie. We'll share that presentation again. Okay. So we're going to be using tools today, and in our education environment, we have a couple that are FERPA compliant that are given to us or they're slowly rolling out. This is just my single sign-on for Saddleback, but everybody, in fact, other colleges I work at don't have a single sign-on. You just go to an app and sign on with your school email, but this is just one example. So we have Google, and it could be a G or it could be Google Workspace, depending on how your IT, or you could just type Gemini. I think for you guys, just type Gemini in there, and eventually you'll get to when it rolls out Google EDU, which I'll show you in a minute. And most of us have Microsoft Copilot. I think we all do, and that's another one where everything in that environment's it's not trained on your data, and things are safe in there. Although I don't put student names, of course, but I can put in my syllabus or different procedures for the college or whatever. So we're going to all be using whichever tool of your choice or tools of your choice today to do these examples. So Google AI for Education at a Glance. There's 4 core tools: Gemini, which
It's a live chat. And then you have the deep research, the Canvas, which is like having a simultaneous chat with the document that you're interacting with at the same time, or it can be quizzes, simulations, and then gems. So this is what, can you go to the next slide?
sure.
Okay. So if you go to gemini.google.com, if your college has rolled this out, so I teach at 2 different institutions. One has rolled it out, the other one has not yet rolled it out. But if it hasn't rolled it out, it'll say service not available. If you put in your campus email, it'll send you to your login page to your portal, and then it'll bring you in. So this is a sample of the Gemini or the chat, and you can see where it says enter a prompt for Gemini. It has the little shield, so it tells you that it's FERPA compliant. It's not going out to train the LLM. It's safe for you to use. It's where you should be sending students. They also have it when it gets rolled out. You can see that it's got gems. And when you do the chat, you can do the tools, which is quick guided learning, create an image, the Canvas, the deep search, and create music app. So this is what it looks like. It stores your chats, but you can also do temporary or get rid of them. Thank you.
Thanks. And GEMS, just as a quick reminder, or maybe it's newer, little chat bots that you can make on top of Gemini for whatever you want. So you can make a gem to just so students can ask questions about your syllabus, for example. So, and this is my EDU Gemini, and it's on dark mode. I usually use all my stuff in dark mode because I look at my screen too much sometimes. So same thing. And the thing on the right side where it says fast, there's fast thinking and pro. So if you're doing infographics you'll see today or something with labels, you'll see that fast doesn't do all the text correctly, but the thinking and pro work beautifully and do all your text correctly. So Copilot at a glance. Do you want to do this one, Linda?
Sure. So Copilot also is integrated into the Office 365 if it's been rolled out, and most of our colleges have now rolled it out. So again, it is controlled. So it's contained. It doesn't go out and train the LLM. And when it's integrated, you have the Copilot that's integrated into your Word, your Excel, your PowerPoint, your Outlook, your Teams, your OneNote. You have a teach agent that'll generate your lesson plans, quizzes, rubrics. You've got Copilot notebooks, may or may not be rolled out in your institution. That seems to be in more pro level. Agents, you can build custom agents. And again, you look for the shield and it's compliant with FERPA and HIPAA and GDPR and ISO 27001. And so this is what we look for. I always send my students. First, I was sending them to Copilot through their campus email. Now I can send them to the Gemini through the Gemini Google relationship.
Yeah, I love the teach. The teach just says teach, and you open it up, and it has all the stuff ready to go already for like it says there, lesson plans and rubrics and everything. So you don't even need to really prompt it. You just give it, say, oh, here's my stuff in my OneDrive, and then it'll create content for you that you can edit. Pretty great. So here's my Microsoft Copilot, my EDU version for my school. So if sometimes it's confusing if you have two accounts or whatever, like a personal one, but if you click on your name on the bottom left, it'll tell you which email you're under, then you'll know which version you're in. And then there's that teach, which you don't see on private accounts or work accounts, but on the EDU accounts, we get that. And it brings up that other wealth of information that you can do. So right now, take a moment to grab one of these and log in. These are the four that we mostly use for LLMs. And I'm tending to use Gemini a lot lately because it keeps adding stuff. So I'm learning new tools and things. There's some kind of competition going on. If you ever see the news about these chat GP or open AIs rolling out things quickly, so is Claude, so is Gemini. And Copilot integrates some of these into their own system. So they have chat GPT in there inside of Copilot now as well. So there's the websites if you don't have them, and you can use free account or your school account or whatever you like. We're going to start now doing stuff together, and the first thing is going to be a universal prompt formula just to kind of warm up here. This is the prompt, and I think Linda maybe put that in the chat. So
It's there.
oh, it's there. You're ahead of me. Oh, there it is. So you're teaching and then put your topic and the level. So that's important because the level AI always works based on levels. Like, because elementary school teachers are using this up through our level in college, and then help me do a specific task and just to warm up. And so some things that are safety things is never share student names, IDs, email addresses, grades, or academic records for personal information, all of that, disciplinary record. So we always knew that. So the same holds true with AI tools. So just make sure that you still don't do those things, but everything else is, mostly we're doing like syllabus, textbooks that are open stacks or open resources, things like that, research that we're doing.
I'm dropping some other examples into the chat that we'll also use. And hopefully you'll share out what you get back. And I can see that we've got some real experts in this field
Yeah.
that's with us today. So I'm hoping that you'll be sharing what you have found and what your experience is and what your vision is, and help us all see from your perspective what you're doing in this area. This is not my area of expertise, but I know PAR's on there and it is.
Hi, Linda.
Hello, PAR. I'm always happy to see you.
Same here.
I'll put mine on in there too. Also, if you're using any of these, it's going to take longer. So, it's up to you if you change the mode from fast to any other mode, basically. I got a really long answer because I have it on thinking. Maybe I should change it to fast. Okay. So I got automated rubric generation, but well, actually, I could paste this. It's not too long. I got all of that. I got a really long one on the pro version. Okay, so this is the activity that we're doing is cut and paste the prompt that Linda put in there, and then add, if the intermediate is add something to that, like a format request, you might want a table or a certain type of document, something about your student detail. And advanced would be add additional context and a format request, and then rerun it. And that's often what I do when I get these things. I usually ask it to do it shorter or make a table or reformat or add theme colors or different things like that, or specialize for the class that I'm teaching. Okay, so our kind of job we think is helping, this tool is going to be there. So our job is kind of to help students think and use this as a helper, but not to just get answers and not think and not learn. So here's a prompt for the different prompt about students I'm teaching. So in my case, AI and technology to community college students struggling with, my students struggle with moving from device to device. So whatever it is, explain how to approach this systematically and what diagnostic analytical steps students should take. And this has been, this is a good one if you want to try it for whatever you're teaching, life science and biotech. So what concepts your students struggle with most?
You want me to put some of these other things and we can share some of the
Okay,
other things, resources. Um,
sure.
let's see if we can get some feedback. You guys can go off mute, share.
Yeah.
So how many of you actually tell your students to go use AI? And do you tell them how to use it? How to make it a tutor? And do you give them assignments that say use it? Har, can you unmute and share some of the things you're doing?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm a life science faculty member. I don't teach biotech, but I teach anatomy, physiology, biology, and I use PlayLab. It's a tool also free to all of us. Oh, Bernice is also using PlayLab too. Yeah, we all know how to create an AI embedded tutor using PlayLab. And I encourage the students during the lab and lecture, and I guide them. Even for cases where they have to write a report, I do encourage them to use it, but then learn about the concepts if they have any confusions, but then answer in their own words.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I have a couple of play labs that I use that I created for my students as well. Great tool.
Yeah. I had a question on PlayLab. Are there, does it give you the latest tools that, I guess the latest versions as the apps are changing? Because I know there's a lot going on with all these app companies.
They are updating and it's very helpful.
Yeah, they're not usually on the newest, but they're the one just before.
Mm. Oh, that's good.
And that could be a funding issue,
Yeah.
but they keep updating it.
That's good, good, good. In some schools, we also have Nectar, Nectir. So I think our system is testing both. So I think anybody in a community college can sign up for Nectar for free with your EDU address as well. And it's similar to Play Labs, but Play Labs seems to be doing a lot of the training and stuff around for our schools. So some other resources we have is a quick start guide and instructional AI uses and crafting effective prompts, exactly for biotech and life sciences. So those are in that drive as well for you.
Can I share the ready to use prompts?
That would be great.
Okay, so let me find my share. Go. So I think you guys can see this. Make sure nothing's in the way. All out of the way. So this is life science and biotechnology. It's a big range of group. And so there's beginner, intermediate, and advanced prompts that are available. You guys can go through this and you can select what you think is good for you. There's biomanufacturing. Okay. There's pharmacy tech. I don't see anyone here that's teaching pharmacy tech, but that may still be there. Medical lab. So in the health science area. So Health Oc might be doing some of that some way. Chemical technology, process plant technology. I know Trade Tech has that program. It's in LACC district. Biomedical equipment technology. We've got some prompts for bioinformatics. And bioinformatics, while it's a relatively new area, it crosses over and it's using all the data and how to use the data. So just to give you an example of what's there. I'll send it back to you, Rena.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot in there, which
I'll put the resource link in again where you can find it.
Awesome. Thanks, Linda. So the next thing is, I think, getting to be one of my favorite tools, and my students are super blown away by this as the change last week, which I'll show you, which is Notebook LM. They added some stuff in there that's making it pretty incredible. So let me just go ahead and share one that we made for biotech. And I think a lot of you may be familiar with it, but if you're not, let us know. But we'll show you one that we made for this. So we made a biotech Google Notebook. And the notebook, by the way, in the Google EDU is you have to use the notebook in that environment in order to use it as an input. So if you have a Google Notebook that's not part of your EDU, it won't connect to your Gemini EDU. So just know that. But here's a notebook. This is just a syllabus for Biotech 125. So upload to the syllabus and it'll give you okay, it'll kind of summarize it and you can ask questions about it. And then you can upload as much as you want. So you can add sources that are any of these types of things in your drive, files, websites, books, OpenStacks. The EDU one does connect to all of that stuff. So you can do what you want and then check off the sources that you want to include in your queries and your outputs. So the middle is kind of the summary, things that you have questions on, and it'll answer, and the right is all your outputs. What's changed is the quality of the outputs. So I have one, let's see, where did it go? One of the things I'm not thrilled with is the naming, but the types of outputs are amazing now. They're opening one called Cinema, but everything is contextualized. So if you're making slides, this now will look like biotech slides instead of just regular slides. It gives you everything that is interesting for the audience, the way the backgrounds are. And you can pick different styles, but again, it's in context. So this is just a PowerPoint just based on the syllabus. So my students, I mean, they're doing amazing things based on their interests. Some are interested in, sports and other subjects, and they'll make slides, and it's just a whole new, different way of thinking.
And when you search for all the resources, if you ask it to find those that are Creative Commons, It's a great way to find content. And then you have to also go through it. Par, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I love Notebook, but one of the challenges that we're facing is its accessibility. With the new law coming up, I may have to remove everything that I have because the video and the audio, they are not closed captioned, and the infographics that it also produces is not accessible. We have already informed Google, but I'm hoping they will fix it before April 24th.
So, remind me, Par, are you able to export those videos?
Yeah, but if you export, add closed caption, upload, there's more work instead of just, you know what I'm saying? So yes, there are ways to add closed captioning, but it would be good if it came from Google right there and then once we produce it.
Well, that's true, but you can't.
So, yeah, I have a quick comment on that since I teach digital media. So, basically, so I do a lot of my lectures and I put them on YouTube. And I create my own SRT file and then add it to the upload. And that gets the captions. And that's still part of Google. As you know, they own YouTube. So they've always created auto captions, but they're not very good. And those they don't count. So I used to spend 3 hours for each lecture just fixing them. And now I can just have Gemini or ChatGPT fix those and paste them back in. But you can create, that's a future workshop, but creating SRT files and then equally accessible documents. You can explain things that are vibe coded, you can explain things that are diagrams and create those equally accessible documents as companions. So that's how we're handling it at the moment. Linda, you're the expert.
Yeah, that's a future workshop, and I've been training teachers to do that for a long time. Um, so as long as we can still export the the files, then it's a quick way of making videos that come from the content. So to me, it still saves work. Finding the OER resources, this is a great way to find it. So there's, even if it's not fully accessible, there's lots of things that are great. But the slides, those take a lot of work to make accessible.
Yeah. So, so I basically asked the AI to make an equally accessible document, explain everything, and then add that into mine. And I have many students in my current classes that use those documents. So, if I don't do it, they'd actually ask for it at this point. So they're
And actually, that is, if you have the statement that says, upon request, I will create the equally accessible document, you can upload those slides, and Gemini is really good about doing that for you.
yeah. But yes, I also was in some workshop where we came up with a bunch of stuff to send to Google about that. So I'd be surprised if they didn't address it because we're all doing that. I don't know what they'll do, or if they understand it. Coming from industry, I can tell you, industry has, we have 100% appreciation for accessibility, and industry is very low. If you might have noticed on that scale, so they hear us, but they don't really understand it like we do or appreciate it. And so there's that mismatch is still there, as you notice. So,
So
yeah.
we have, I put it in the chat as well. So, because Canvas requires us to be 120 characters or less, it really can be up to 200, but Canvas flags it. So we try to keep it under 120. So you can ask for a description that's WCAG compliant, and you can also ask for if the alt tag is insufficient, ask it for a description that has UDL. Now, the Universal Design for Learning can give you some amazing short paragraphs, and it can give you some long stuff. Depends on what you're working with, that helps all learners. And I've done that with helping teachers in electronics and schematics, and what the students get from reading the UDL language, the short descriptions, is helping them to train them to focus on certain things. So Gemini is just fantastic for that. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Linda. And we do have a guide. It's called AI Power Moves for any class guide for accessible teaching resources, and basically how to make those and how to prompt to get those equally accessible documents as companion docs for your materials in there. Okay, so here's an example that I made this week on animal cells, an alt tag description. So I made this in Gemini EDU using thinking so that it did go ahead and give me the labels with correct spellings and things like that. If it's messing up, just check on if you're in thinking or if you're in fast mode. Fast mode won't do this. It'll just give you like misspelled things and it won't understand the diagram. So it needs to think a little bit longer for that to work. And so,
The quality of these images has just gone so phenomenally higher than it was just a little while ago.
yeah, I mean,
So you
no
couldn't
way
have
I
done
could
this
read.
before.
No, mine didn't look anything like that. And so this, and then I asked it for a description so that this would be what I post, an alt tag plus an extra description. And so that would be, and some examples on the bottom that for CTE, there's all kinds of things where this is really helpful. But so sometimes an alt tag that I come up with in my head isn't that great. And so it's better to just ask for a compliant tag in a description if you can. And so, yeah, that's a good example of in this field how that works. So we have a question for you guys. To what extent are you encouraging your students to use AI in course activities? So not at all, limited, AI integrated, or AI encouraged. If you want to put 1 through 4 in the chat, would be great. In my chat button. So
Right, there's
me,
something going on in the chat already.
oh,
I'm not sure that I'm understanding. So there's a 4-part series on accessibility coming up from Judy. What is AFAIK? Brian or somebody?
AFAIK. Yeah, Brian, but I don't know what that is either.
As far as I know, Brian. So,
Okay,
Linda, I'm sure you're aware that we within the district don't have access to the
Oh,
free Google yet. The district is working on it. So Brian
yes.
is asking about that.
Oh,
oh.
that's what it is, as far as I know. Sorry. Yes, that shows I'm a little bit illiterate on some of this.
Acronyms, bad. Me, I'm bad at that too. Hilarious.
Yes. Actually, what's funny is I sent to my campus tech the request, hey, do we have access to this Google Gemini? And my campus technology, I don't think they even knew what it was. So they sent it to the DE coordinator. The DE coordinator sent it to the district who sent it to, or the district DE coordinator who sent it to Brian or Albert Sarian, and then it went back through to me. So it was pretty fun. I could have just picked up the phone and gone to Albert, but all right.
Yeah, and I found mine by accident. I think I wasn't supposed to, but it's there. So, anyways, I expect it to be all rolled out for everybody by fall. Let's just put it that way. It's just depends on how IT is handling it everywhere. So, what AI ready means, these are kind of things that I share with students that they should be familiar with these different areas. It's not just prompts. In fact, prompt crafting is a lot of times in the background with these now, you do a prompt and it actually changes your prompt and it makes it longer and then it goes and does its thing. So, but AI literacy and making assistance, data fundamentals, and how you can clean and structure data and then get analytics out and graphs and all of that. That's in governance and verification and quality control. So all that is what AI ready means. Notice it doesn't say cheating on essays or not learning and all that. So those are the things that I think, like for me, I tell my students this is why. Sometimes they're like, "Why are we learning this?" You know, and I'm like, "Because so you know what to do safely and when." And so I get that question a lot, actually.
So do you want me to share some of the integrated assignment designs handout?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. So here we go. So again, this is one of the handouts. Make sure everything's out of the way that we have prepared for you. So if you're struggling with how might I integrate technology into the assignments, so here's some single short AI assignments, and we have them in different fields, perhaps a lab protocol evaluation, perhaps if you're doing a analysis, so that you might ask AI to do a targeted analysis on something, pharmacy tech, drug interaction, compounding accuracy check, and medical lab, evaluate and interpret against rules that you're teaching. A lot of this is theoretical, unless you have the hard data. And if you can give them the hard data, then it's more of what they might do on the job. Most of what I do is theoretical with my students. Process technology, chemical technology, bioequipment. Verify that a outcome from an experiment, is it in the range? What other variables might have impacted it? Bioinformatics, interpreting again, an explanation of biological significance against a peer review publication. And there are some tips for designing your own integrated assignments, depending on which area you're in and what you're trying to teach your students. Okay, back to you.
And there's a lot in there. So I hope you find that helpful. I was just thinking when I was doing all this lab and research, I would have been like summarizing the important things for medical publications, because going back to all that lab notebook stuff was like really hard. All right, so here's a formula for good AI prompting for student learning. I'm working on a problem where I need to do something. I tried this approach, but I got this result or error. I think my issue might be in what's their idea. So this is a good way to kind of learn from mistakes, which is great. Can you help me understand where my thinking went wrong? And also in all of these, you probably, I'm sure, know by now, in all of these language learning models, there's a learn or study mode. So if you put it on that mode and they ask questions about it, it will do this itself. It'll start asking, okay, well, here's this thing. What do you think? And then they put an answer in. And so it tries to lead them through thinking through the answer instead of giving them the answer, which is pretty good.
I put that into the chat, that prompt.
Oh, great. Okay. Oh, yeah. So activity number 2, put yourself in your student's shoes. And here's a prompt for that. I'm working and see what how it responds differently from that. Doing a prompt from kind of their point of view. And it's something that I think we all do when doing our Canvas shells and then putting it in student mode and looking at it again and going, oh, I need to clarify this or that. I mean, that's what comes into my mind and doing my Canvas stuff. So let's try this for a minute, see what you get. Maybe I'll share the thinking mode in here.
Hi, Car.
Share my Google. Okay, so it's my Gemini. So we'll do a new chat. So you can see here we've got guided learning. It's on this one. ChatGPT, I think it's called Study and Learn or something like that. So 1, 2, understand what I made and it is. It's pretty general, but it'll start. So let's explore the variables. That's what it does different. It starts like exploring, asking questions and things like that. So instead of just dumping out the answer. So there we go. Then it tells me I need to look at the ingredients, use the acid-base equation and all of that. So that's gotten a lot better. And you can see now, especially with Gemini, it's including little things to make it easier to read. And they've got these little icons. And you can, if you don't like them, you can just tell it, I don't want those. But in your settings, you can tell it to talk to you however you like. But I think it's pretty good now. So that's, I encourage my students to use that mode when they're asking questions instead of just the chat. Just put it into study and learn or one of those. Okay. So anybody glean anything out of that? So my students, and I teach all ages of students, and they have actually nicknames for their stuff. Some call it chatty or whatever, but they are able to solve and ask questions on almost anything, and they kind of get used to it as like when they have a question, that's when they use it. They don't use it just to not learn, and it's gotten to be where I've been able to guide them to that point, and now they're able to learn and not get stuck, which I think is great, and not have kind of learning blocks. All right, so we have this student AI use scenarios guide. So in there, when students should and shouldn't use AI, and real student scenarios, teaching tips for building diagnostics and critical thinking with AI, and academic integrity guidelines. That's the student AI use scenarios and guidelines link in the drive. Here's some student use examples. So I kind of like the first one. Students describe problems and symptoms to their AI assistant to understand how different concepts interact. And that's kind of how I'm using it in class a lot of the time. Professional writing and communication, that's a really important one. So at work, I know because being in the sciences field, not all of us science people are the best writers in the world. And at work, some people, especially newer students, have issues with sending proper communications to their team at work, and this is helping them to create and edit the emails and communications that they create and get better at business communications. So it's actually a really, really important thing for people to succeed on those entry-level jobs. Any questions about that?
Put in a link to the guide.
Oh, great.
There is also the students subject specific applications that I can give you a link to.
Thanks, Linda. And yeah, we're putting all these in the chat, and they're all in the drive though. A guide to AI prompts. We have a guide that has we kind of marked it as green, yellow, and red frameworks for AI use with disclosure templates. So we have all the templates in there. When to use and not use AI, and then a couple of short courses getting started with AI for students, which people really love. We have people in over 100 countries taking this free course, and our students also take this course, and it's helps with kind of the basics on how to get started and how to do things correctly. So
I have my students take both of those courses, and I always poll my students, say, how many of you are using AI? And it's going up, if they're honest. It's at least they're admitting it. And then, do they know how to use it correctly? Do they know how to do the citations? And it's amazing to me how many students still say, hey, I don't touch it, it lies, it hallucinates, and my teacher will fail me if I use it. But as an educator, I feel it's my job to encourage my students to learn to use it correctly, because when they graduate, they're expected to learn to use it or to know how to use it before they get their job. And I need to give them a safe way to play around and encourage them. And we talk about it, and it opens up some of that discourse in class. So the AI is getting better, and the students are getting better on how to prompt it. So that's important.
Absolutely. I was just thinking and the other thing for my students is I really uh, I hound them almost every week on safety. So to make sure if they're going to ask a question, to use incognito mode or the temporary mode, I think it's called, so that they're asking medical questions or something personal, that it doesn't get into the AI system or train on it or even save what they're asking. So, key question: what AI skills and systems are employers asking your students to have? We'd love to get your input on that for this field. So, maybe if you've talked with industry, or people working, or you have an advisory board or something, what types of AI skills do employers expect your students to have?
Yeah, this is a really key question right now, is to bring up that conversation. If you're working to put students into apprenticeship locations, um, workforce development, give them opportunities to volunteer. And if you have an advisory board, what are they saying is really important? Anybody?
Yeah, if you put on the chat, I put some for me in there. So when I was working in AI and XR, we, as an employee, as a manager, had to have a monthly report out on how more efficient we're being or doing things differently in our department with the new tools. So it was like, KPIs, like, are you meeting your goals? And we'd have more information than we used to have with these tools to report out, things like that. Or even with sales, like how many people, it's like making an app on how many people you reached out and all the latest information. There's just a lot of things. I know in IT, um, building new internal apps that are efficient and personalized for your workflow. That's a big area that people are doing. Process validations. Okay, good. Okay, so program specific AI skills. So this is for your area. Oh, that's good. Thanks, Judy. Um, so life sciences and biotech, we have this reference guide, and it's skills by program and universal skills and cross-cutting skills. So this is kind of um, we've always received research on our areas that we teach, and now we can get more information as well by ourselves by using these prompts and these guides. So
Do you want me to share these two documents?
yeah, I'll unshare. I think it's pretty important. It's actually one of the first things I did when I got into ChatGPT a few years ago. Is I created a tool to do something like this, um, to match skills and credentials with programs. So you can just do it yourself now.
So the first one is the matrix, and it has the program, the skill category, what students do, uh, level, priority, and then you can see it goes down: manufacturing, lab, pharmacy, chem tech, biomedical, bioinformatics. I'm trying to find the bar at the bottom to go across. All the windows are hidden, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm the only one that ever has this problem. Um, tools in industry, tools for learning, prompt example. So I'm going to stop sharing this one. This one's here for you to download. And then I'm going to share the skills quick reference guide, which is the other one. I'll make it bigger. So let's see, for this. Of course I can't. So It's different program, skills, and applications. So these are all ready for you to hopefully give you some good ideas and to share with other faculty where you're teaching. Common tools. I don't know what half these are because I'm not in this field. But you guys probably will know more about this than I do.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, it gives you a lot more ideas on how this might fit into your field with AIs making agents and using these for preparing to work than you probably might have thought of before. So that's what it did for me.
But overall, problem solving, regulations and standards, technical communication, safety first, data literacy, continuous learning, and critical thinking. These are the skills that we have to get into our students, that they have to be in the driver's seat, but they can use it for these functions. Okay, you guys can go through this. Rena, back to you.
All right. So we've also included that in the PowerPoint, so you can see just like one example, regulatory and standards research. You would use AI to find and interpret complex regulations and standards. That's a great one. And doing, because I've done a lot of FDA stuff, that's super helpful when you're writing up like your research to submit to the FDA or something like that. And I had to do it in two languages, English and Spanish, so this would have been really helpful. And then looking up the different regulations along with that. So that's a good work-related example that I actually did. And we have more there, skills for life sciences and biotech. One other one that I did a lot is QC or QA for me, interpretation, interpret and identify variations. And so you could use this to glean information, actually for QA, kind of finding out a little bit earlier issues that you might have in your process and correcting them. That's the important thing in industry. So activity number 3 is we're going to go ahead and use one of these handouts, the Life Science and Biotech Ready to Use Prompts handout, and then find your discipline. And I think we caught them all on there. And then use one of the prompts to copy it and then use it exactly as written. Intermediate, we're going to have you iterate. And it says there how to do that. Simplify it for your students or reformat. And advanced, iterate twice and improve the output. So let's take a minute and do that. You have to grab the sheet. And Linda will have a link up there.
Link is put,
You.
and here's a beginner example coming out. Once you get some beginning research done and you want to refine it, then you ask them for, ADA compliant image or handout. You ask them to put in the universal design for learning emphasis, and you only have to ask it a couple of times, and then it gets to know you, and then it'll automatically put in the UDL and the accessibility into your requests.
There was also a comment earlier. I'm not sure if it's possible, but is it possible to download the student skills matrix, or is it view only?
No, I think you can download it.
I tried to download it and I think somebody else did, and it's not letting.
The Excel sheet,
Let me try again.
I can upload it.
Let me try.
I have all the link as public. Let's double check.
If it's in the folder, you
Oh
should be
no,
able to.
it let me download. We're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it should
Thank
work.
you.
Sure.
But I'm glad you're checking, Judy.
No, somebody else made the comment and then I tried it and it didn't work for me, but when I just tried again, it worked for me. So
Okay. Internet voodoo.
That's a June session.
Okay, so if you get anything you want to share, either you can unmute or you can paste in the chat or whatever. I can share mine as we're going along. Let's see, Gemini. So actually, I'm gonna change mine to thinking, so see the difference. Do this again. So it gave me an answer on a prompt that I exactly copied from our guide on a bioreactor device, bioreactor deviation scenario. And then I'm going to redo it with thinking, and it'll give me a lot more information. Get all this, and then I could, once I get it, now mine knows I like hashtags. I do a lot of posting, so it just adds hashtags to the end of my stuff. I should probably have it only do it when I'm asking it to, but now it just does it. I could ask it, okay, give me a summary table for my students. I do this a lot, and then I to post stuff into Canvas to make it easier. And there I go, potential root cause. So this is really good. And it'll export to Sheets, or you can make a table and put it right into Canvas that way. Classroom tips. Sometimes I do this, make it discussion, post follow-up, and then put that in there. There we go. Oh, see, it has accessibility tips. It knows, because I always ask it for accessibility. Now it's just giving me all this with my answers. That's really good. Help draft a rubric. Sure. Go for it.
It likes to please.
It knows me.
But this can also be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Throws so much at you so fast that
Yeah.
you just kind of want to go.
Questions, comments? I think it's pretty amazing compared to where we were before. Now I'll move on to some fun stuff. I don't know where that black piece is there. Okay, so AI in action. So this is I asked it, you saw this early, but that's my prompt: create a 3D animal cell and label all the parts for college level biology. And then, and I have a demo to go with this. I asked it to show mitosis. And I used Gemini's, I think I used Veo 3 to do this or something. I mean, I think I was shocked when I saw it. It's like, it just did it from my original drawing. So they've never been seen before. I just think these are uh they're getting really, really, really good. That's oh yeah, Bayo. So that's we don't have the video version in our school thing, but I think if you had a Gmail account, you can probably, I think it lets you do 3 videos a day or something. Also, Sora is another one by OpenAI. Those are free and you can make videos and stuff from there if you need to do videos content for your classes. Um, so I wanted to show how that works. Yeah. And that's my prompt, create a video of mitosis using this 3D animal cell. So I just gave it, I didn't do anything new. It just started from there and then went for it. And I'll pass it to Linda.
Okay, so let me give you just a little bit of background. I was at a class where I'm training students to be swimming teachers, and we were in the water and we had done practice teaching, and we were doing now how to teach water aerobics. And of course, I get in there and work them out. And one of my students had a focal seizure in the pool. So we got her out and following up with her, it turned out she was on 4 different medications and she decided she was going to start taking GLP-1s. And I know enough about anatomy physiology that I went, oh my God, you've got the whole process of how the drug is coming in and going out, possibly being reabsorption, recycle time. So I went to Gemini and I said, okay, I know what my theory is. What if this and this? So it gave it to me. Can you go ahead and click on the demo, Rena, or do you want me to pull it up?
Oh, yeah. Why don't I have you do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. And I'm going to also put a handout when I'm done into the chat. So it gave me some data. And again, this is all theoretical. I asked Gemini to go and find peer review research that either confirmed or denied my concepts and what was going on. And so it's pulling up. Sorry, I should have had this ready. Okay, so I can and share my screen. Okay, get rid of this out of the way. Out of the way. So here's my biomanufacturing. And so when you get the link, you have to run all first and foremost. And if it's got the code, then you have to get rid of the code. Okay. So I can go on. I'm going to, yeah, this is the one I want. So standard SSRI. Okay. So I think she's taking some some psychotic medication. So here's a standard for dissolution rate, recycle time 10%, and 4% reabsorption. So then when we add the GLP-1 to it, then it goes to from 4 hours up to 18 hours. Let's get this to move. And it's slow. Okay. And you'll see that this chart goes up into toxicity load. And it's, come on. This is why you have the backup. Okay, I'll stop share and I'll share my handout that I have because I took all the slide shots. Okay, so here is, whoops, didn't share. Stop share.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
That's the collab. Okay, here's the handout that I'm going to send with you. So this is all the drug data, okay, that shows if they have added the GLP, what it goes to on the time. So here's the first one. And let's see if I can get this out of the way, and it won't. So here's without the GLP, here's with the GLP. And then went to a different one without the GLP and with the GLP. So with AI, you can ask your students to say, okay, what happens if you do time release? And it'll tell you that even with the GLP time, slow release keeps all the drugs in safe. And so, in my opinion, it's not going to be too much longer from now that our students will be going in and doing customized drugs in this field where they're looking at the titers that are coming back and how is a person actually absorbing the drug. And if you add the GLP interaction, what's happening? And then go to, well, they're doing this drug, this drug, this drug, this drug, putting it into an AI simulator, and then starting to reformalize how fast the drugs are being absorbed. So this was just a kind of a fun one I wanted to share with you. So I'll put that.
That's fascinating because there again, medical seems to be disconnected, but there's a way to connect things that now you got introducing a whole new thing in your system and it's messing up all the other stuff you did before. And uh, so it's a whole new world with drug interactions. It's really good, Linda. I wanted to also share in Gemini, I made this little DNA simulator. I just asked it to make it, and then I asked it for some improvements for learning. And so I could generate a random sequence, and then there's a mutation, and then there's an RNA strand. This is stuff I myself had trouble learning when I was doing anatomy phys, and so you could, give yourself make these little apps to test yourself and see if you understand these concepts. And it'll give you like some disease states, and so you can have it design it however you want. And so it gives you, I had it like add some explanations on the bottom, so understanding polypeptides and all that. So it's pretty unlimited what you can do, and it's also pretty fast. And in our Gemini, when you get your EDU version and it has the ability to do any of these artifacts or vibe coding things. Just ask it to do it. You don't have to know anything about coding really. You just have to check if the results are correct based on your expertise. So that was pretty fun.
Well, I can't find the chat anymore.
That's what I get in class all the time. All right, so I don't know if we'll have time to do this, but this is a prompt that we use a lot to make a self-contained HTML page for your discipline and about a student activity, like I just did on DNA, and then have it make a little app for you. So these are basically interactive content that you can add into your class if you're interested in that. It could be something where students click and you could have a quiz section where they get answers. That's something that I usually include. I even do that just for like pre and post stuff in the class. So what do you know and what did you learn later as a reflection? It could have a scoring system. It could have like prizes. It could do whatever. Google now. Um, you don't have to use Google, but they all have kind of visual information in there that you can add in. Usually little icons or something. And so I don't know if we have like 15 minutes, but uh, that's something you could do maybe on your own. I don't know if we have 5 minutes to do it. Let's do it. How about if anybody types anything in the chat of something that you wish you had a little interaction for your Canvas shell? You type it in the chat and I can do it on mine. If not, I'll create one anyways. I'll just think of one. I'll show you how I do it actually. So if I was going to do this I'm just moving my zoom out of the way. So first I need a new chat. I'm in Claude, so let me be back in Gemini. Okay, new chat. So I'm going to put it on thinking mode, and I'm going to be in Canvas, which is the place where you do vibe coding. But before I do Canvas, I'm going to just ask it, like, what would be a great interactive curriculum content I can vibe code for anatomy and biz. Sometimes that's how I get started. So it's giving me some, okay, some ideas. Ethical Anatomy Lab. Oh, that's cool. I like that one. So I could take all of this and then what it gave me, and then just go over to Canvas and put it there, see what happens. I should start building something, and which it is. There it goes. So it's going to do, I didn't ask it to do HTML, so it's probably going to use something called React. And it's going to create something for me that I can preview in a minute. You see how fast this goes? I do have some coding background, but I'm not a coder. I mean, just in my engineering work, but I can see what it's kind of doing. It's kind of hard coding some of these areas, doing some formatting, and then, so I got first crack at this. It made a little anatomy lab, and I don't actually know what it does. Oh, ask their symptoms, and then, so let's see. I think for me, I would have, oh, well, did it in Spanish. It's interesting. So you can see how fast these are, like another, that's not probably my favorite example. I think for me, I would have done something like this. Just make a great app to learn. Something like this, and then let it do that. And so I could, because usually it's for me, it's like problems with learning from a book or from diagrams or whatever, but something to make that easier as a companion. So again, it's not thinking for you, but it's helping you learn in a different way. So it might be more visual or interactive. And that's what these are, for me, for teaching, are really good for. So now it's going to make an interactive app. So if I was studying this and I had a 2-hour essay question, I could get used to doing it with this app. So this is, and the speed at which these are happening now is crazy. These used to take a long time. Gemini is particularly fast. Oh, it threw an error, so it didn't preview. Did we get any examples in the chat? Let's see, chat.
You'll have to monitor the chat. Mine's gone. It's just gone.
Your Zoom chat's gone?
Can't get it back.
Okay, so let's see if it'll preview now. Okay, there we go. So it's got an explore section. You can change the heart rate. That's kind of crazy. It's got a library. You see, it's simple. I'd have to go iterate there and ask it to do a bunch of stuff, but it gives you some little questions. And I'd go and say, okay, that's a good start. Here's my syllabus on the heart. Like, no, go fix it. So, but pretty spectacular. And then I'd be like, okay, do EKGs for these 12 disease states. And then here's medications that could go with it. And then have people practice drug interactions. So however you're teaching, it's a really good tool for that. They all do it. ChatGPT, Copilot, they all do vibe coding. I think Gemini's at this point a little bit faster. Any questions on that?
And vibe coding is also a future professional development session we'll be offering.
Awesome. Okay, so our summary for this, that we think that students and people going into work need to be comfortable using these tools. to kind of be more efficient. It's kind of what's expected in the workplace, but it's also really helpful for learning and teaching. And for me, being creative. And there's a lot of worry about, well, now people aren't like you're losing entry level jobs. And so you've got to be right there with, being a little bit more than entry level, using these tools to prove what you can do. For me, because also a creative person, I can finish projects that I wasn't unable to finish before, like finishing. I work on a lot of movies, so doing B-roll and finishing soundtracks and mastering and other things. For teaching, it's made my Canvas work 90% easier. And I end up teaching a lot of new classes, so that's really great. So employers expect this. You can look on LinkedIn or anywhere else and see all the AI stuff in there that's expected. And just preparing students for AI-powered workforce. I know all of my kids, there's 4 of them, they're all their jobs have completely changed. One's a project manager for AWS, and it completely changed. In fact, the people that she's project managing are bringing AI projects to the public. One's in sales and doing AI-powered fire detection. Their jobs have completely changed. So now we'd like to know, how much are your students currently learning about AI in your program? We have 1 through 5 there. Which for me, they're learning a lot because I teach AI. By the way, some districts are teaching, if you want to put that in the chat, that'd be great. Teaching this everywhere, all over the map. So most people are have some kind of content or at least guidelines when and when not to use it. Some colleges have AI certificates, even degrees. Some have classes, and the classes aren't just in credit, they're non-credit, they're in adult ed, they're in community ed, so it's proliferating around the system. All right. So learning outcomes. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
So most of us start at the course level and we say, all right, I want to add some AI, and we think it's good for our students to learn the AI and integrate it. But what are we then doing with our fellow peers that are teaching? And are we adding SLOs to the program? There are conversations at most of the colleges about what are we doing with AI in terms of academic integrity. That's what I hear most of the level at. But I envision there should be institutional and program learning outcomes that regard AI, and it should be mapped amongst all the courses within a program, that to the institution, the same way we have all the other SLOs and um, uh, even student assessment or student service SLOs. I think we need to have them integrated. So there is a outcomes library that's in the workshop folder. And so here's some examples of a program that's using tools to perform core tasks while verifying recommendations against industry standards. And then the course would be to interpret the AI generated data and analysis using professional judgment. Or are you maintaining systems that are AI powered diagnosis and ensuring regulatory compliance? And are you developing schedules that use AI driven analytics with prevention? So, how are you optimizing and using dashboards in your program? And are we teaching that because it's into industry? So, I'm a big believer that on the forefront of this, we have to not just be looking at the academic integrity, but to be looking at specific outcomes. And when we have a focused target, we're going to be much better at driving the use of AI in our programs. But we have to have a real target outcome. So here are some strategies. What works best for your students? What can you do right away? What have you already started? How can you collaborate with teachers who are teaching at your institution in the same way? So one, infuse a couple of assignments. Most of us are doing that, but can we then have a dedicated module within the current course that's really focused on it? And if AI is becoming so big in the area that you're teaching in, should you consider creating a new course? Maybe it's um, an optional course that works towards the unit. It's an elective unit within your program. If your program's completely crowded, you're trying to keep it within the minimum for the AA degree or an AS degree, then what can you do? Can you do some continuing education? Maybe make some free courses, and then you're going out to industry and retraining workers that are in the area so that they can keep their jobs. Continuing education, non-credit education is another one. Most of you probably know that if you develop two non-credit courses and put a certificate with them, and it's in voc ed, then you get complete funding as if it were a 4-credit class or pretty close to funding. So that's another alternative, is developing AI to retrain workers local to you, get them into your college, help your enrollment, and get the highest level funding. 2 non-credit courses with a certificate. Next one. So we have some more resources, and I know, Judy, we've only got a couple of minutes and we got to give it back to you. So we have a program, curriculum planning workbook, integrating AIs into the CET program, some Q&A and concerns. We have some CTE program syllabi language that you can look at for your programs. And the key takeaways. AI is already in your industry. It's in your pathway. We believe strongly that students need those AI skills to be employable. Start small, build gradually, focus on and interpreting AI, not programming it, making sure that the students know how to authenticate, and it's their responsibility to stay in the driver's seat. Talk to your industry partners and ask them how they can help refine your use of AI and make it targeted. You can do this one, Rena.
Yeah, so next week you're going to be doing my area of expertise, educational media. So like you saw those videos, we're going to be showing you how to create all kinds of content with a bunch of apps that we haven't talked about yet in any of these series. So that'll be a lot of fun next week at 10, next week on Friday. And we have a code here, LARC1. This is in the PowerPoint if you want to take some free courses. The Google Gemini, we have that course there, and then also ChatGPT 5.
And if you go to eduvators.net, then your students can take free accounts. They can take a couple of the free classes. You can take free classes. And then there's more resources in there as well for you to go get. They're free.
So thank you, everybody, Dr. McKeegan, Judy, everybody for having us today. I hope that was helpful.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing your expertise with us today and providing all of that guidance. I hope everyone feels that they learned something today. And while Raina did share the Creating Educational Media on April 24th, next week, we're still in March, I think. And our next week is actually AI for educators in the ICT digital media fields. So please share that with your colleagues. Everything that was shared today will be on the LARC AI Learning Library next week. All of the links that were shared, as well as all of our presentations, the links are shared in the description of the video. So you will always have access to everything that was shared today. There's that and more in the LARC AI Learning Library. So please do visit it. And please complete the feedback form for today as well. We shared the link in the chat. And with that, thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope to see you next week and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye. Thank you.